Hi everyone, welcome back to Pockets. This is our Art Journal with Me class where we answer prompts and create ephemera and fill pockets in a pocket journal that we made after excavating the emotions and pent up regrets and feelings and all that jazz through written journaling and the pockets within ourselves. That was kind of a word salad. Last time we filled our pocket with our creative dreams. This time we are filling the pocket with our fears and energetic blockages that might be holding us or keeping us in a standstill instead of actually unashamedly going after our creative dreams. Before we get started, I am going to do one shameless plug of the new zine that I have finished. I do have a free printable zine and some free printable collage papers on my Substack available for you guys in the last couple of posts that I did. This is the zine that I have available for purchase on my Ko-Fi for, I think it's pay what you wish, starting at $12.22. It comes with a sticker that's related to the poetry in the zine, and I will sign the front cover for you. I thought about self-publishing a book, like a little chapbook, and I didn't quite have enough poems written that I felt were right to be included in this collection. This collection has to do with like the art of noticing and practicing presence in your daily life, and the things that we notice when we do that, and the magic that can kind of come from just paying attention and appreciating the things that are around you. It has pieces of original artwork. It has some found poetry collages in it. A lot of these poems have not been shared before. Some of them have. The artwork, other than the collages, there is some mixed media artwork that is new. It has to do with life and death and living happily and spiritually and finding a solace in a contemplative life. So please check this out if you're interested. Like I said, I'm open to trades. You can DM me on Instagram or on Substack. I am open to, I'm pretty flexible when it comes to that stuff. And it's also available for purchase. If you have any questions or want me to talk more about zine making, leave a comment below and I can do that. I have, like, this is a printable zine that I have in one of my previous posts that talks about my spiritual journey. It's literally like a piece of paper. It's double-sided, and then you fold it in half, and then you fold it in half again, and it's like a little book. I made the background art analog style, and then I edited it in Procreate and did the writing. And that's available in, I think it's 2 posts back on Substack from this video. And then I also have my other Substack, my fiction Substack called Letters to Imaginary Friends, where I am currently writing almost like a meditative, imaginative inner journey as a fiction piece, as letters to an imaginary friend. So if that is interesting, I will leave the link for that also below. So I did my journaling for this prompt already, and it took me a while to kind of want to sit down with this prompt. And when I did, it kind of made sense that my biggest fear and my biggest blockage is my relationship to time and the way that I allow my anxiety to ruminate over regrets in the past, and how I get too caught up daydreaming or thinking about what could be in the future, and how I catch myself up in guilt because I feel like I'm not spending enough time in the present. So rumination is something that I deal with a lot as somebody who is very anxious, for more reasons than just what's going on in the world. The state of the world has obviously not helped that. If you're in the US, well, if you live anywhere, you probably know what I'm talking about, but to all my brothers and sisters who live here in the US who are struggling with the state of things, just know that we will continue to build resilience and hope where we can, and keep working towards something better. I'm filming this the day after the 4th of July. I didn't really celebrate the 4th of July, but I did go kayaking. My kiddos were camping with my in-laws, which is something special that they do. But that's not really a holiday thing. That's more so just every chance they get during the summer thing. But I think we're all feeling kind of, after the big beautiful bill got signed, I say that in quotes because, like, what's beautiful about it? Absolutely nothing. After that got signed in, and we are just looking at a country that does not take care of its people and that is treating certain populations, the immigrants in this country, as though they don't deserve to be here, which they absolutely do. So it may seem silly to come and play in a little journal made out of recycled stuff and talk about our feelings, but if we don't take this time for care for ourselves, then no one else is going to do that. And we still have to make sure that we are finding little pockets of joy where we can. Pockets, right? That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm somebody who's in recovery and is still learning a lot about politics and things like that. I don't feel as though I am equipped to like share anything in like an expert or like knowledgeable perspective. I'm like learning a lot of things myself. So I didn't feel like I could make this video without acknowledging that things are really hard right now, and it feels really hard to do anything. But I also find, as somebody who's struggled with depression and who is bipolar, like sitting there and ruminating in all of the ways that things are bad right now is not helpful to me, and it's not helpful to anyone else around me. And we can't help build a better world and fight against those that would have us just submit. We can't do any of that if we are stuck in a mindset of defeat and depression and hopelessness. So we are excavating hope. We are allowing ourselves to work towards something better. So the first piece of ephemera that I made is this little, it's supposed to be like a clock, but I didn't want to make like an actual clock because it's less like time like on a clock and more like existential time. I know there's the term of like Chronos and Kairos time, and I'm going to be honest with you, I think Chronos is the one that's like clock time, but I get them mixed up. I have these little fasteners that I got from Walmart. I thought they were called Brads for some reason. They might be. I don't know. I've tried to order those online several times for paper doll making, and then I found them randomly at Walmart. both the arrow that I cut out and the actual clock itself is, I put a layer of packing tape over both of them for a little extra like sturdiness. And it's not going to turn like, I know it's not going to turn like super well, but it's just kind of like representative of the way that like if I allow myself, I can spin round and round and round and round and think of all the things that went wrong that I could have done different. I can think of how I'm not doing enough right now and how I'm not being grateful and how I should just be happy that I have a home and I have my beautiful family and, you know, all of that. And I can also go round and round thinking of all the ways that I could make my future better. But if I'm doing that, I'm not really working towards a better future, both collectively and individually. The backdrop is like a little mandala that I was making with watercolor. It was just, I wanted to play with watercolors. I didn't have anything specific to make. And so I made it, and that's actually one of the printables that I put up on Substack in my last post. I made some watercolor mandalas. I scanned them in, and then I kind of played with some of the alteration tools in Procreate. I think next we'll draw our tarot card before I draw my little comic that I'm planning on doing. This is Tarot for All Ages. It is a very, like cost-wise, it's very accessible. It's from Elizabeth Heidel. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But they're an illustrator from, I believe, the West Coast. And they have really fun, unique illustrations. And I really like this take on the tarot. I don't use this deck a lot for readings, which is why I'm okay using it, the cards as ephemera. That way they are getting used. The artwork is special. It's actually, the creator had a class on power symbols. And it was like one of the first art classes I took after I started creative journaling. So, and they have a drawing book that they just had come out. So go support them and that work. I will link that creator below. So, Dreamer. Okay. So I think yeah, so in the Rider-Waite-Smith decks, you have 0, which is the Fool, and 1, which is the Magician, and 2, which is the High Priestess, and 3, which is the Empress. I wanted to double check that I had that correlation correct. I forgot that the Fool is 0, which is why I was confused by the number, but this is definitely giving the High Priestess energy. This is, I feel like this is a very important card when it comes to specifically to my fears, because I can get caught in my head so much, and I've spent most of my life in my head. As a child, I sat there and I thought about all the ways and all the things I was going to create when I grew up, and when I could have just been making and creating things right then. Same thing once I got to college. You know, I was taking all these classes that had nothing to do with creativity. I never allowed myself to take like an art class or creative writing class. I was too caught up. I didn't think I could be an artist because I wasn't quote unquote good at art. And so it was all about getting the degree so that I could finally go out and like make something of myself. And so I was like in my head all the time with ideas, but like never actually pursuing them, never actually taking action on them. Making meaning out of things, but never following through. And then, you know, it wasn't until I was on bed rest with my daughter that I actually started taking action on the dreams that I have always wanted to take action on. You know, I first taught myself how to crochet, and I sold stuff for that for a little bit, and it was empowering to know that I could do that. And then I moved on to creative journaling and just playing with stickers and ephemera, and then junk journaling and bookmaking, and then art journaling and painting, and now I'm doing illustration and collaging, and I'm writing like I've never written before. And all of this is within my creative ecosystem that feeds into itself. And if I don't practice presence and pay attention, I can get too caught up in the dreaming and the planning and the thinking and not take action. I can also allow myself to get distracted by my phone, by social media, by the things in this world that are meant to capture our attention, because we do live in an attention economy, and there are people who are looking to harvest that attention for their own gain. So I am in a phase of trying to reclaim my attention, and this feels really powerful. It's a reminder that I have beautiful ideas and I'm connected to spirit, but I also just need to allow things to happen. Sitting in contemplation too much can lead to things not getting done. In the book, number 2, The Dreamer, Intuition, Mystery, Deeper Understanding, also known as the silent knower, this figure is at home in the realm of dreams, wandering comfortably in the darkness. Looking past the obvious, the dreamer gathers messages from hidden places. The dreamer reminds us that it takes true confidence to sit among the mysteries of life without demanding answers. This is something that I'm actually like learning, is just accepting that I'm never going to like know things. Accepting this with patience will open you up to surprising sources of information. Trust your inner vision. The more you pay attention to it, there's that attention, the stronger your intuition will grow. Slow down. This type of knowing takes time. The numeral 2 refers to duality, balance, and partnerships. I will say that one of the biggest aspects of my spiritual growth and my inner healing has been addressing the fact that like society as a whole and the education system and just how our society operates like kind of encourages us to think in binaries, to operate within duality. And what I have learned is that that's not really the way the world works. My spirituality, I practice through a Christian lens, but mostly through like the idea of duality, this idea, non-duality, excuse me, this idea that God is everything, that it is the underlying, like, it is everything and it is all the things between, it is all the space and everything between everything. If you are a fiber artist, it is both the stitches that you knit and the fabric that you are knitting into. It is when you are weaving, it is both, God is the warp and the weft and the loom and the weaver. That is like the spiritual knowledge that I've come to feel is true. It doesn't have to feel true for you. On my altar, I have a statue that was my grandmother's of the Mother Mary. I just finished a novena to Saint Joan of Arc, which was surprising. I did that after a series of synchronicities. And if that's something that you are interested in hearing, because I did something kind of unique with it, and included my writing practice with it. And if you would like me to share about that or about novenas in general, leave a comment below. I'd be happy to share about my experience. Every time I've done a novena, it's led to very interesting results. I will say it's a very good practice in surrender, which I think is some of the most potent magic that there is because whatever plans I have for myself, it can't really, my mind has a hard time fathoming what God or the universe or whatever you want to call it could actually have planned for me. So the act of surrendering to that unknown, embracing the mystery, like the Dreamer card shows us to, embracing the mystery and sitting in the unknown is actually an act of faith. That's faith as I've come to know it. The other thing that I wanted to do is draw a little comic. I recently started on my Substack a little contemplative comics section. And I feel like I'm never gonna get better at comics if I don't allow myself to like draw them. And you know, I'm someone who enjoys like the scribbly childlike art, and so which works out great for me. I'm not classically trained. It's just something I enjoy to do. So I'm drawing a little comic of me. One of the things that I struggle with is like proportion and sizing and like how much space I have to work with. I recently got my hair cut, so I'm gonna draw this a bit shorter. One of the sides flips out, which has me feeling quite self-conscious most of the time. That's actually one of the things I wrote about in my first contemplative comic that's on my Substack now. So I'm just writing in these little thought clouds, like some of the thoughts that I tend to ruminate. I'm not happy with the face that I made my face kind of weird, but I wonder if I don't know if this is gonna work. Yeah, that's not working very well. And it's just this idea that I can sit here in my head too much and I'm not paying attention because I'm just letting the thoughts swim and I am ruminating. That's really what it comes down to, is rumination. And I think rumination might be my biggest, like if we're talking energetic blockages, that's probably my biggest blockage. I'm going to get now I have my collage cards. In case you guys don't know, I am a skilled tarot reader, so if you are ever interested in a tarot reading, you can message me and we can set something up. I don't container. I don't keep until my daughter's in school full-time, which is happening in the fall, but I don't have like a schedule that I keep, but I'm happy to set something up. If getting a tarot reading is something you're interested in, I can send it via email in a PDF, or I can send you one by mail, or I can send you a video where I do a tarot reading and kind of explain it. Get a drink of tea here as I container. So one of the things that I mentioned that we might be looking at is how to clear these blockages or how to move past these fears. And I think creating a container for my work is possibly the answer to that for me. What do I mean for that? A container of space that or time that I can work in. I kind of have like a schedule that I keep creatively. If you'd like me to talk about my schedule as a mom and a creative, let me know and I can make a video about that. It kind of changes between summer and the school year, but because I am at the mercy of the other things I have going on, but I do always find time for creativity. But also a container like I was really tore up about my Substack for a long time because I'm a fiction writer, or I want to be a fiction writer, and I felt like I wanted a way to do that. And instead of pivoting the current Substack I have, which is more about the creative process and living as a creative, and now I share comics there, instead I created a new Substack that is the container for my fiction writing. One of the things that I've struggled with is this idea that I have to write and write and write and not share it with anybody, and that just doesn't work with me. Sharing is part of my process, and so writing in these little installments and allowing things to come to me, visualization is a huge part of the writing practice, and like getting into that flow state for me. So I can't plan too much. Like I can't, I just have to get in the zone, create the container, and then do it. So like finding a place for the work that I'm doing to live, it will allow me to ruminate less. It will give me the space if I want to work on my writing, if I want to work on my comics, if I want to work on my art journaling. I have the space to do that because I've created the container to hold it. Also, pockets are a container. A journal is a container. This is my little journaling page where I realized that time and the way that the way that I feel like I'm wasting time, the way that I feel like I'm running out of time, it all came out in a little journaling session where I wrote about regret and things like that. I would love if you guys end up making a pocket journal or doing any of this and feel inclined to share. I would love to see what you're making. Here I'm just writing, if you guys are familiar, in the Bible, I believe the angels say don't be afraid. I've not read the Old Testament all the way through, but I am rereading the New Testament, and when Jesus walks on the water, he says, do not be afraid. And I know that's like something supposedly that the angels say a lot. And now I'm sitting here and I'm like, how do you spell afraid? I think that we can allow our heads to spin out, and we can spend a lot of time thinking what if and living in regret. And if we're ruminating, we're certainly not living in the present. Or we can actually like do something about it. We can create the container so that we can take 5 minutes a day to like write in a journal, or like write towards like a little short story, or, you know, put some marks on a page. Over time, you know, you'll have a completed journal, art journal. You'll have a completed journal. You'll have a completed story. You know, if we create the space, if we make the container that we can work within, and we allow ourselves to get out of our head and actually allow our body to move and actually put our ideas out here, I think creativity begets creativity. I've been struggling to sit down. I have ideas for the next segment for the writing I'm doing for Letters for Imaginary Friends, but I've been stuck at this, like I haven't sat down to do it yet. I also, like I said previously, like it's not something that I plan. It's something I sit down and I write. And I edit and stuff after that, but like I don't necessarily have a plan. But creativity begets creativity. And sometimes after I spend a few days drawing comics, or I spend a morning doing an art journaling video, or like over the past, like yesterday and the night before, I actually read a book that I had bought from this independent press. It was a horror book, which is something I don't read a lot of anymore. You know, those are all creative acts. Those are all acts of rest. They are all acts of doing the things that we love, creating things, living in the creative worlds, and that we enjoy visiting. And I wouldn't be surprised if I'm able to sit down and write after this. So that is all I have for today's episode of Pockets. When it comes to our next question, I'm trying to think of what feels like super significant about this specific journaling session and where it feels like it's leading. So if creativity begets creativity, how about our next creative questions have to do with I think we've done that one before, actually. Isn't that what this one is? Okay, so I'm not sure So I'm gonna look back at our old prompts, and I will put the new prompt down below in the description, because I don't want to give us something that we've done before and we're starting to get, like, you know, filled up. We're almost to the halfway mark of my journal anyways. So let me think about it, and I will include the prompts for the next pocket down below. I hope you guys take some time to be creative this weekend, and today, whenever you're watching this. I hope that you are gentle with yourself in a world that would have you focus only on productivity. And if the most you can do is rest today, then I urge you to do that. I hope everyone has a great day. Until next time, bye.